Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesdays with Harbinder Narula. My guest today is Aashna Bhagwani. She's a plus size fashion and lifestyle blogger who is recognized as one of India's top makers of body positive content. With her body positive campaign, she has motivated a lot of women to love their bodies regardless of their shape, their size, or their look. In 2014, she launched her own blog called Beyond the Buffon. So let's hear from Ashna herself about her journey, what motivated her, what keeps her inspired to create content that is making so much of a difference to people like her in our community. So welcome, Ashna, to Wellbeing Wednesdays for BW Wellbeing World.
Thank you
And
for having me.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Ashna, before I dive into questions, uh, I want to ask you a question which is going to be the basis of our conversation today. And that is, how do you define body positivity from your perspective?
I think for me, body positivity is all about acceptance. I think whether it's being accepted by the society, by your family, by your friends, but most importantly, by yourself as you are. I feel for me, that is my personal definition of body positivity. I think growing up, we face as young girls, we do face a lot of challenges regarding beauty standards. When we go out and about, especially when you're meeting your relatives, they're always the first comments. As a kid, as a baby, also the first comment is, "Acha, healthy lag rahi hai, healthy baby, not healthy baby." So I feel from the get go, you are sort of put in a box. And for me, the biggest journey and the most hardest journey is to feel accepted by myself. So yeah, for me, body positivity is all about acceptance as the way you are, just the way you are.
Awesome. And how did you begin posting content on social media? To promote body positivity, because usually what I've seen is because
Mm,
most people like yourself,
mm,
you're driven by passion, and I can sense that passion because before this interview, I went through your videos on
mm,
Instagram. I could sense that passion and some purpose. And
mm.
most people who are doing something like this, where purpose is very evident, there's a
Yeah,
story behind it. So,
yeah.
what is that story that triggered your how did your journey begin?
Do you want the short story or the long story?
Whatever is something that you feel people should know about you.
Okay, so I was basically, so when I was 13 or 14 years old, I was living with my grandmother, who at that time had a boutique. So it was like a new school. I started living with my dadi because my family had to move around town. So I sort of started growing up with her, and she at the time had she was a fashion designer and she had a boutique at that time. And because it was a new school and I was a chubby kid, I used to get bullied a lot by not only my friends, but even my teachers. So after school, my teacher would basically want me to run rounds of the school so that, kids while leaving the school would see all the fat girls accumulated and running rounds in a very insulting manner. So, and then my dadi, to sort of cheer me up because she knew I was having a hard time, would stitch some lovely dresses for me on the weekend. She would customize dresses for me. And I feel since a very long time, even in my childhood, I was always struggling. And I feel that my grandmother was the one who would try to encourage me, get me into fashion. So even fashion played a huge role in giving me confidence. And I remember this is when I was very young. And of course, when I was in my early 20s, at that time, I started like any other person, becoming, having a Facebook account, starting Instagram. And I also studied fashion designing. And I sort of realized that I am becoming good in marketing, in the marketing perspective of fashion. I even joined a brand and started working with a brand as a salesperson back in the day. So these are little instances that happen. And then one day I was on Pinterest, it's another social media app, and I was just like scrolling down because I remember I wanted to attend a music festival. So I sat and typed plus size fashion inspiration outfits for music festivals because I wanted to look good. And I was a plus size girl. And at that time, I saw some lovely, outfit inspirations and a lot of European and American girls. Not many Indian girls, not many plus size Indian girls were, out there doing this openly on social media. So immediately at that time, I had like a light bulb moment, like an idea moment, like this is something that I could do. And immediately I went into research mode, and I started 8 years back. So I was researching how to be a blogger. We didn't have words as content creators and influencers back then. So I learned on YouTube HTML and CSS coding and started my own website, and just sat and wrote articles about what we could wear as plus size women, what we could do to feel confident in what we wear. And at that same time, Instagram was picking up, decided I wanted to start an Instagram account so that visually people could see my styles. And that's how I started, one post at a time. And back in the day, of course, there were different media houses, one of them being BuzzFeed, that picked up, 10 curvy fashion girls that you should follow. And that's when I started gaining a lot of followers and popularity. And since then, it's been an incredible journey. And even right now, I have seen so many different changes in social media, and I'm trying to adapt to every change because I do have a very strong purpose and passion regarding this. But yeah, that's my journey, sweet and long journey.
So, Aashna, I want to ask you a very pointed question.
Hmm.
Uh, how did you feel when initially you said that, people were making fun of these
Hmm.
fat girls?
Yeah.
So, when the body shaming happened, what went inside of you? And I also, along with that, please share with me, because you mentioned that your grandmother was a fashion designer, and fashion designers' perspective to looks are very, very different,
Yes.
and how she inspired you. Because what I can sense is that
Hmm.
she inspired you to go out and talk about it. So,
Yeah.
how did you feel when somebody was body shaming you, and
Hmm.
how your family's motivation to help you go out changed you as a person?
For the first question, honestly, when someone body shames you, especially when you're young, I don't think people realize that certain things really stick with you. Like I can really go back in, I'm 30 years old right now, but I can really go back in time to when I was 13 years old, what I was wearing, what the location was, how I was body shamed, why I was body shamed. The exact feeling gets replicated into my heart. And I feel that is why it's so important when you are sort of dealing with a early teen, what you are about to say, especially about their bodies, about their looks, because they can really hold it in. And it is something it was something traumatizing to me at that time, because I knew in my heart that I am so much more than my body. Like I'm a good girl, I get good grades, I am very respectful towards my parents, I like to play, I like to play with fashion, I like to help my daddy. But suddenly all that goes away, and how you look becomes the most important. And when someone insults you for that, especially as a young teen, it is a very traumatizing feeling. And secondly, how my grandmother sort of played a very important role is that we come from a family who are all very chubby and healthy. So she knew that this is not like something quite different. Like my dad is a bit on the healthy side, my grandfather was on the healthy side. So so I'm so glad that she did not pressurize me into like, no, you have to lose weight, you have to. She knew that I was emotionally struggling. I was separated from my parents, for because of education purpose, I was separated from my parents. And I was staying with my grandmother, and she knew that even weight gain or weight loss can have emotional levels. It can be something that you're emotionally also going through. But when someone body shames you, they don't know that you're emotionally going through something. But my grandmother realized that, and I feel that is why she sort of encouraged me in a very positive manner.
Can I ask you one question? What did you go
Yeah.
through when you were separated from your parents for education purposes?
Um, It was a very hard situation for me. I think now when I look back, I do somewhere kind of I somewhere do question that why did that happen? I had failed my fifth standard, and
Mhm.
my parents were in Dubai at that time, and I failed in Arabic because I just could not grasp Arabic, and I didn't want to learn Arabic. Like and I failed in one subject, and they detained me for the entire class. And my parents thought that education in India would be better for me,
Mhm.
and it was better for me. It was so much better for me. I made some lovely friends. The education system in Pune was great. So I'm glad that they took that decision for my keeping my future in mind. But of course, as a 13-year-old, you don't understand these things. It's like, okay, my parents didn't want me, but I do understand when parents are parents at the end of the day, and they do have to make some hard choices. It's somewhere also, like, I feel like I'm healing from it. Like, it's not like I'm not completely okay, but I am healing from it.
So, in your opinion, should parents at that age send away their children to for educational purposes or not? And I'll later on tell you why I'm asking this question.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm still very conflicted with it, because when I still talk to my parents about it, they're like, but teri achhai ke liye kya, teri bhalai ke liye kya, like, it was for your own good, like, look what happened. And everyone deals with a lot of ups and downs in life, and I'm sure they were also going through something because they had to make this decision. Otherwise, no parent would want to sort of want to send away their children. But I was sent away to my godmother, who was my dadi, like, and she became my, growing up, she became mom, dad, and dadi for me. So I'm happy. I'm still very happy and satisfied that they did that for me.
Got it. Let me come back to the main topic that we were
Yeah.
discussing. Today, you're very well respected for the content that you create. You're very well respected and appreciated for the message that you're trying to put across to the society. Now, when someone asks you for advice, how do you really feel? Do you feel happy? Do you feel gratified? Or do you feel a sense of responsibility? And also, you know, where do you get your inspiration to continue to do this?
I do feel a sense of responsibility, and I do feel happy also that I was important enough that they wanted an advice from me. And when someone asks me for an advice, I honestly talk to them or give them an advice. If if I would to give an advice to my younger self, because when I was struggling, no one was there to sort of give me an advice of how I need to overcome this. So I do give them an advice. And I know if someone is getting body shamed, I tell them that if you can stand up for yourself and say something, you must, because it's not always easy. And if I feel a person is struggling with their relationship with their body, I always tell them that, when we look in the self, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, it's so easy to sort of point out flaws. Oh, this is bad about myself. I don't like this about myself. I wish I was this. I wish I was that. I always tell them that when you look at yourself in the mirror, at least point out five good things that you like about yourself. At least start the journey of acceptance. You're not all that bad just because of your body. There is so much more to you than your body to matlab, you will start aging also. That's also a whole different process. How you were in your 20s and how you will be in your 60s, you have to accept everything gracefully at the end of the day. It's a whole journey of acceptance. So yeah, this is what I tell them. And I do feel a sense of responsibility, but at the same time, I do feel happy that I'm important enough that someone asks for my advice.
So tell me, Ajna, when people come to you and based on your own experience, I mean, you're just 30, but you've experienced life in a very unique manner, right?
Hmm.
And when you have people coming to you for your advice, etc., uh, what are the kind of fears that you come across that people are dabbling with in their lives because of their plus size?
Um, I think I do have a lot of audience from the age of 16 onwards till 35. I think that's like my age group. So I do get a lot of, and especially a lot of women more than men. So I do get a lot of questions that I have also struggled with in the past. I remember a girl texted me the other day that, I made a new bunch of friends, but behind my back, they talk about how fat I am. That was one of the, and she was really struggling to make friends because of her body. The second was about a girl who is not able to go on a date with a boy because she is worried that the boy will think that she's too fat. So I feel like I've gone through all of these things, and without being too personal, I have to, because there has to be some sort of boundary, because I don't want to know a lot also about their personal life, because I don't want to sort of cross that level. But at the same time, I do want to be respectful, and I do want to give an advice, a little bit towards their situation, what's happening in terms of what I have experienced. If I have experienced something similar, I do share about how I overcame it, and maybe you could try the same thing. So this is just how I give a little bit of my advice to them.
And do you think these fears are real, or these are just created by yourself?
Absolutely. No, these are very real fears. Like I remember this girl who met a guy, and she was like, hey, I really want to go on a date with him, but I'm not sure if he will like me, if he will not like me. I said, just go, you never know. Like, me be in a public setting, carry yourself with confidence. She went on the date after listening to me. She was filled with confidence, and she came home and she was like, I don't know what I was worried for. Like, it was all in my head. And I was like, exactly. So I do feel like these are very real things. And sometimes girls even send me pictures from shopping malls. They literally ask me, they call me Dee. She's like, Dee, should I wear this? I feel really uncomfortable. I said, go in the trial room, at least try it on. Dee, I love it. Like, it's like such a sisterly, friendly person, who is sort of there for you. So I feel that's a really unique relationship that I've built with my followers.
I can only imagine. I mean, I can sense that pleasure that you derive out of these conversations from your face right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Asha, you mentioned that there are more women coming to you, more girls coming to you than men. Is there a reason that you think that men do not really come out or talk about it?
I feel since we are very young, we are already put in a box as girls. There are a lot of unrealistic beauty standards that are put on women, whether she's fair, whether she's dark, whether she's thin, whether she's fat, whether she has too many. If she has too many pimples on her face or she doesn't. If she has short hair, if she has long hair. How tall is she? How short is she? I think there are a lot of beauty standards since we are very young, that have been put on women. But I do feel that after the body positivity movement has gained a certain level of popularity, I do feel that even a lot of men are coming out and talking about it. Yes, it's not as much as women, but there are right now, because even men are put in a box. Acha, height kam hai, basketball mein, swimming mein, they also feel a certain kind of pressure, you know they also feel a certain, they also are getting ragged somewhere or the other because of their physical appearance. There are a lot of pressures that are also put on men. But I do feel right now, because of the body positivity movement, at least there is a space for men. It is encouraged for them to also come and talk about it.
So, Asha, you spoke about people's fears, both men and women, and you also spoke about loving yourself. You said look yourself in the mirror and give yourself 5 reasons why you should be acceptable. Now, as you talk about self-love and how we can learn to love ourselves unconditionally, what is that one mantra that has worked for you and that is what you recommend to everyone else to do?
One mantra that has worked for loving myself, I think it's the mirror thing. I think that has really something that I swear by. I think even the weighing scale, I think for a really long time, because you're always judged because of your number, like how much you weigh, what is your weight. So I've developed a very bad relationship with the weighing scale also, where I just push it aside. No, but it is just a number at the end of the day to show where you are. Same as the mirror, it's a reflection at the end of the day. But there are the mirror and the weighing scale hold so much value, have so many thoughts before and after. So I think for me, the one mantra that has really helped me is positive self-talk, if I might say. I think we very easily can, talk very negatively about ourselves, and that's what happens. I totally feel our thoughts become reality. And when you reverse it into positive thoughts, I feel you really start understanding and appreciating yourself more. You sort of realize what your passions are, what it isn't, what you like, what you don't. You become more than just your physical being. So I think that has something that has really helped me, which is positive self-talk.
So, when we talk about social media posts, I mean, while you're creating content, social media is the place, the destination where we put in all the content. And social media following, etc., is a journey that everybody is on. But when people put in content, you put in your posts, your photographs, etc., and we live in a society where it's an open society. Everybody is on Instagram. People love to come and comment on it. There are these positive comments, and a lot of us also receive negative comments. There are comments that put us off. There are these remarks that people put in there. What goes into your mind when you read these remarks and comments? Which how do you deal with it? I mean, do you respond to it, or do you choose to ignore it? And also, what goes inside of you when you're doing this? Does it put you off your journey for some time?
So I think sometimes what happens is, even though my Instagram, whenever I do a post or everything, 90% is all love. But yes, there will be 10% of trolls and haters that will comment something nasty. And sometimes what happens is that the brain sort of forgets the 90% love and focuses on the wrong rubbish comments. But I've really had to sort of take a step back and understand that people sometimes on the internet, it's not criticism, it's just hate. It's just they feel uncomfortable seeing you flourish. So I sort of take a step back, and because it's my page, because these are my posts, I do have the power to delete and block, and that's what I do. Because I don't want other women also who are trying to who are in this journey of self love see these nasty comments. Why should they? And I don't want my audience also to feel a certain way because of these comments. So I use my power very wisely, and I delete and block. And I have trained, because I started 8-9 years back, I have somewhere trained my brain to focus on the love, because if I focus on the love, I'll receive more love and I'll be able to give more love to my audience.
That's a very powerful message. I mean, because it is, it's not just specific to the kind of content that you are creating. But for most of us, whenever we put in something, we resonate with most. But there are people who kind of disagree with our thoughts.
Yeah.
Aashna, it is generally believed that when a woman gets, she's overweight, she's typically subjected to body shaming, and we spoke about it earlier. But a man who gains weight is generally accepted for some reason, And do you think that body shaming also occurs to men? And I'm talking about a very different question. The earlier question was more about what do they think about themselves, right? But what about body shaming outside, by others to men?
I don't think that happens a lot. I don't see that happen a lot. My dad is on the healthier, chubbier side, and he doesn't have any body shaming stories to share with me. So he was very much acceptance. Yes, there were a little bit taunts over here and there, just in a fun way, but nothing what women go through, I feel, because like I said before, there are a lot more unrealistic beauty standards that are just put on women to look a certain way, and that's just the truth of the society sometimes.
And Aashna, one is you are using social media to create an impact. But do you think that social media, digital media has helped you overcome your barriers in the mind?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you explain how?
I feel I found a lot more like-minded people like me on social media. When we were growing up, we only had magazines and movies and Bollywood movies to look for in terms of entertainment. Now we do have social media, but when it comes to magazines and Bollywood movies, everything was all about like skinny models were in back in the day. Kareena Kapoor lost weight. She's a size 0, so become like her. So it was again a lot of like appreciating only one kind of body type. When social media came up, there were a lot more real, normal, common people who have become content creators, who come from different walks of life, who are using the platform to share their story. So yes, social media can also have its side effects. You really don't know, people can portray their life in a very different way to what it is. That's where the reality and versus expectations come from. But particularly for me, I have found a lot of like-minded people, and I'm so grateful to have found them. I have made a lot more friends online, on because of social media. So for me, I always look at the positive for it.
Ashna, do you think looks matter when it comes to feeling confident about yourself? And if it does, what is the role of fashion in making you feel confident?
I think in some way looks do matter, but how you look at yourself matters even more. So in terms of fashion, I have always used fashion as a very powerful weapon to bring confidence out in myself, and that can be with different things. Someone uses makeup, someone uses fashion, someone uses self-talk. So there are different ways of how someone can feel confident. For me, my weapon has always been fashion.
So if your weapon has been fashion, what are the top fashion tips, maybe top 5 or top 10, that you would give to women who are of plus size so that they feel they look good, and when they feel that they look good, they feel confident? So what would be your top 10 tips? Or
uh, I think top 10 is a lot. It's a
let's
lot,
keep it
but
top 5.
I will do say few things then, and few sentences that a lot of women, when they come to me, they ask me for these tips. So I personally feel that fashion is also based a lot on body types, on different body types that are there. So I always tell women that, if they are on the healthier side, on the chubby side, they always box themselves in loose and baggy clothes, because, they don't want to show their body in a certain way, which is absolutely fine because it depends on their comfort and confidence level. But I also do tell women to experiment. Everyone says you must be comfortable, which I agree with. But I also tell women to experiment, go in the trial room, go in front of your mirror, and find maybe 5 to 10 different types of outfits and see which outfit you feel the most confident in. I can to tell you, wear these pants with this top and this skirt and everything, but what do you feel the most confident in? And that is where the notion of personal style comes in, which over the years I have developed to make myself feel confident. And that is what I would like to tell everyone else, that experiment and see where you get your personal style from. It's very easy to hide away in baggy clothes, but you are more than that. You also deserve to enjoy fashion. So this is one of the biggest tip that I feel I can give.
That's really beautiful, Ashna. And I'm so blessed to have this conversation with you, because if we can be a conduit to take the message across for you and help you enhance the impact that you're creating, I think we it's just a beautiful feeling to do so. And the biggest takeaway is when you said that looks do matter, but what you think about how you look matters even more. And your the tip that everyone has a style, go look out for your personal style
Yes,
by experimenting, and that's the only way to do so. That's a
yes.
very powerful message. I'm pretty sure that this conversation, when it reaches the right set of people, it will be an impactful one.
Thank you for having me. And honestly, it was such a heartwarming and lovely conversation that I had with you today. And yeah, I'm grateful and happy that we had this chat.
Thank you.